All right, and again, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Jeremy Trosh. I'm one of the counselors here at Claremont High School, and I'm joined tonight by Mr. Anderson. He'll be presenting the second half of the presentation this evening. Again, this presentation is being recorded, and it will be available on the CHS website under the counseling course selection for 2021-2022 webpage. The slides for tonight are also available currently under the live stream page, and will be available after the presentation on the counseling course selection website as well. So let us go ahead and get started. I will remind you, if you have any questions at all, please enter them into the Q&A section. You should find that at the bottom of your screen. And then we will answer those questions after we finish the presentation this evening. So let's start out with, there it goes. Our counseling team. So this is our counseling team. Hopefully by now, you know who your counselor is, but I know many of our freshmen did not actually get a chance to meet their counselor last year. And so we'll be meeting most of our freshmen for the first time in a couple of weeks. We'll meet with them individually to go over their course selections. An important resource for our students is our Claremont High School website. And we have developed a page just for course selection. The far left column, is our YouTube video library on course selection. And there are already videos that have been added to here that don't show up on this particular page. But this is a great area to learn more about course selection for your student. This center video here is specifically the electronic course selection tutorial. All of our freshmen saw that during Wolf Den earlier today. However, if you need to review that tutorial to get extra help on how to do something in the electronic course selection, this is where you want to head. On the right-hand side under course selection links are three really important documents. The first one is the Graduation and College Requirements Comparison Sheet. We will actually go over this briefly tonight. But more details can be found on this particular PDF. Just below that is a course description book, and that gives you detailed descriptions as to what CHS offers, and the prerequisites for those classes. And then just below that is a CHS elective options, and that's kind of an abbreviated version of the course description book that focuses just on the elective options our students can take. Claremont High School counselors offer course selection office hours for our current freshmen, rising sophomores. And the dates for those are actually different than what you see on the screen here, but you can find that on the website. Okay. The rising sophomore links, and these are the ones for the current freshmen, rising sophomores, are under the incoming sophomores menu. Two important links here. One is the appointment schedule. And that is by PE classes. We will review that at the end of our presentation today. The other important link there is the sophomore course selection, and that is actually where our rising sophomores, will select their courses for their sophomore year. And then down at the bottom, you can barely see it there, is our frequently asked questions section. Okay. When you try to access the electronic course selection form, you may see this message. If you see this message, that means you are not logged in under your CUSD Google account. It has to be the student logging in under their CUSD Google account to access this. So if you get this, either A, use your school-issued iPad. That'll resolve the issue because you are by default logged in under your school Google account, or B, click on that little circle up at the top. Mine is orange, yours may be a different color. And then there you can change to your CUSD Google account. Okay. This is our graduation UC Cal State and NCAA requirements comparison sheet. I am going to go through this very briefly, talk to you about what each section means and what your student needs to do to graduate, meet Cal State UC requirements and NCAA requirements. The left column there is our graduation requirements. And these are the requirements your students need to meet in order to graduate from Claremont High School with a diploma. The second column is our UC Cal State minimum admissions requirements. These are the requirements from the Cal States or UCs to be considered as an applicant. We consider this to mean that your student is college ready. So if your student meets these requirements, we would consider them as college ready, because if you meet the Cal State and UC entrance requirements, you've met the requirements for about 90% of colleges nationwide. The final column is the NCAA Division I requirements. If you're a student, or you as a student want to play a Division I or II sport when you get to college, you must also meet these last requirements. In social science, to graduate, you need a year of world history, a year of US history, 1 semester of government, and 1 semester of econ. Next year, as a sophomore, you will start world history, junior year for US history, and gov and econ in your senior year. For the UCs and the NCAA, it is 2 years, world history and US history. In English, you need 4 years across the board in all 4. Important difference, and I should have mentioned this earlier. For graduation, you need a D or better. For UC and Cal States, you need a C or better. In math, you need 2 years of math to graduate Claremont High School. One of those years must be integrated math 1 or higher. For colleges, you need 3 years of math, integrated math 1, integrated math 2, and integrated math 3, although 4 years are recommended. NCAA is the same, 3 years of math, including integrated math 1, 2, and 3. For science, you need 2 years, 1 year of a biological science and 1 year of a physical science. That is the same for UCs and Cal States and NCAA. An important note here, for your UC Cal State requirements, you must take chemistry or physics for your physical science requirement. I apologize. In fine arts, you need 1 year of fine art or 1 year of world language or 1 year of career tech for graduation. For college requirements, you must take 1 year of fine art and 2 years of a world language, although we do recommend 3 years. Moving down to physical education, to graduate from Claremont High School, you do need 20 credits. That includes the 10 credits you took in freshman wellness this year. You will also need 10 more credits. Now, to get those last 10 credits, you can take an additional PE class in your sophomore, junior, or senior year, or you can play a sport. Every sport you play receives 2.5 credits per season that you play it. So if you are playing, let's say football for an example, you receive 2.5 credits for every season you play. If you play 4 years, that's a total of 10 credits, and that fulfills your graduation requirement for PE. In electives, you will need 75 credits beyond the graduation requirements previously noted. For UCs and Cal States, you will need 1 year of a G elective. Government and econ taken in the senior year will fulfill this G elective. Some other requirements you need for graduation would include tech ed. We'll talk about that in a future slide. Claremont High School does offer technology education as a course, and many of our students will choose to take that. But we also have many students who will take the challenge exam. Claremont High School has not set a date yet for the challenge exam this year. Typically, we offer another one in the spring, but students can take that anytime between now and their senior year. As we talk to students, we will always want to talk with them about their college and post-high school plans. One of those options is community college, and this is an excellent option for many of our students. To get into community college, all you need to have is a high school diploma or be 18 years of age. When you attend community college, you have the option of doing a certificate program, meaning you're focusing on workforce training to prepare you for a specific career, or you can focus on a transfer program and look at taking your 2 years of community college, transferring to a 4-year school, spending an additional 2 years at that 4-year school, and graduating with a bachelor's degree. Many of our community colleges have priority transfer agreements with our UCs and Cal States. When we talk about 4-year colleges, generally speaking, we're talking about 2 main types. We have our public system and our private system. Our public system our public system are universities funded by primarily the state. We're going with that second, sorry. In California, that would be the Cal State system and the UC system. However, there are lots of public school options outside of California. And if your student is interested in a public school somewhere in the Western United States, we would highly recommend looking at the Western Undergraduate Exchange. In the private schools, we have both in-state and out-of-state. We have non-denominational, we have religious. There's lots of different options in the private realm. I mentioned earlier that the two public schools or public systems in the state of California are the University of California system and the Cal State University system. The UC system is our competitive system, and they accept the top 12% of students in the state. The UC system will be test blind for the class of 2024, and we will review what that means in a little bit in a future slide. The Cal State system is a little less competitive, and they accept the top third of students in California. They have not made a decision as to the admissions testing for the class of 2024 yet. Many of our students will also be interested in attending private schools. Each private school, both in-state and out-of-state, has their own set of admission requirements. As I mentioned earlier, if you meet the UC requirements, generally speaking, you've met the requirements for most private schools in the United States. However, we do recommend you go beyond the minimum requirements to increase your options when you look at schools in your senior year. And now I'll introduce Mr. Anderson.
Good evening. So along with academic preparation, when colleges are evaluating students, they want to make sure that students are well-rounded. So they want students who are active and involved members of their community. So what we have here is we've listed a few local community volunteer opportunities for students. Yes, we understand that there is currently a pandemic that we're under. So when it's safe and available, we encourage your students to get out in their community and look for places to volunteer, just because schools are looking for students who are academically prepared, as well as students who are active and productive members in their community, showing leadership as well. Keep in mind, there's a college for everyone. As mentioned prior, Mr. Trost went over the community college system, the Cal State, the UC, out of state and private. So there's a college for everyone. This early in the college search, we ask students to kind of identify what are their needs, what's important to them out of a college or university. So there's some sample things over there that we encourage students to look at, or some things that might be important for students when they're looking at colleges and finding that college fit. So you might want to consider the cost, diversity at the school. That's important. You want other students there that look similar to you, that share similar experiences, but you want a wide variety of students as well. Maybe the location is important, majors that are there, how selective the school is, as well as school size. So there are a ton of factors to look into, but just keep in mind that there's a school out there for everyone. There's over 2,500 colleges and universities throughout the United States, and only 185 of those schools reject more than half their applicants. So no matter, you don't have to have the top GPA in your class, the top SAT scores. There's schools out there, and the key is identifying those schools and finding a school that's a good fit for you. A good, easy, fun feature to check out is BitFuture on the College Board's website. You can enter all of these things that you see to the right, and we'll create a list of schools that your student and you can search and help in that and finding that good fit for your student. When we speak of colleges, it is important to consider the costs. But this early in the game, we ask students to kind of look at schools and not really consider that cost, but just, again, finding that school that's a good fit. There's several ways to finance a college education. There's a financial aid. I won't get into this too much, but this is something, the FAFSA, that free application for federal student aid, that's something that will be completed during your student's senior year. We will have a financial aid night early fall of their senior year, but by filling out the FAFSA, students can qualify for federal student aid, and that includes grants, loans, as well as work study. If your students are deciding to stay in California to attend the school, they can also qualify for the Cal Grant for being a resident of California. There's several scholarships out there. There's private scholarships, there's school-based scholarships, institutional aid that's merit-based as well as need-based. One important thing that you should be aware of and really look at when you're looking at colleges is the net price calculator. So you're going to see a price of a school. It might be $40,000 per year or less, but each school is required to have a net price calculator within their website, usually under the financial aid tab, and it will give you, you can put in your personal information and it will give you a realistic view of what it might cost, including any type of aid that you might get. So you might be surprised that the initial cost per year of a school might be $20,000, $30,000. But when you go through the net price calculator, you might be surprised to find out that you might only be responsible for paying $6,000, $7,000 of what that tuition might be. It's not too early for students to start looking at scholarships and even applying for scholarships. Most of them that you might find now are going to be really geared towards seniors that are attending college next fall. But at the same time as looking at those scholarships and those opportunities, you can kind of figure out what's out there and what you might need to prepare for, whether they're looking for 2 years of volunteer service within this, and whether they want some leadership activities. So those type of things, so you can start to prepare early, sophomore and junior year, towards applying for those scholarships when you're a senior. There are 2 excellent websites, findaid.com and FastWeb, that really will help aid in that scholarship search and kind of gear you and make it easier to find and identify scholarships that might be a good fit for your student. Testing wise, the first test that your student might want to sign up and get some exposure to is the PSAT. So this is a good practice for the SAT. Sophomore year is when most students will begin taking this test. It's usually their first exposure to the SAT type of testing. It's offered once per year in October. They will register for it during registration in August at CHS there. So junior year is it's qualifying for the national merit. So most students will begin taking that test sophomore year in October. They will take the PSAT junior year, and then the plan is that fall to take the actual SAT or ACT exam if needed for the colleges that they're applying to. And there will be further information that we'll go over later on regarding SAT and ACT testing. Information about the ACT and SAT. This is just a quick breakdown of the differences between the tests. Again, we recommend that students, if needed, a lot has changed with the SAT and ACT based on schools, as Mr. Trost mentioned before. UCs are test blind, not requiring and not even accepting SAT scores as part of their admissions process. The Cal States haven't identified if they're going up through the class of 2024, which would be your students. And a lot of private and out-of-state schools are either test blind or test optional. So this is an ongoing change, with more schools removing themselves around requiring SAT or ACT. But here's a breakdown of what's covered on those exams. Again, recommended time would be early spring of junior year for your students if they choose to begin taking these exams. We at CHS, we do offer both International Baccalaureate, the IB, in advanced placement courses. Both of these are highly rigorous, extensive analytical reading and writing. For most of the courses, there is a weighted GPA component. So an A is weighted on a 5-point scale, a B on a 4-point scale, and a C is on a 3-point scale. Students begin IB coursework in grades 11 and 12. It's a program that has specific requirements that students will begin in grades 11 and 12. There isn't anything other than challenging themselves during their freshman and sophomore year that's required for students to enter the IB program. One recommendation would be there is a 4-year world language requirement. So if they haven't started their world language, it's definitely important for them to start their world language and continue with that world language as a sophomore if they have any interest in the IB program. Prior to course registration during their sophomore year, we will have many IB nights with our IB coordinator, who will go over the IB program and admissions into that as well. As mentioned, the decision is made of spring of junior year. This program starts in junior year, so that's something to look forward. But if they're interested, again, we just encourage them to challenge themselves their freshman and sophomore year, making sure that they have their world language in, and if possible, to get the PE and tech ed requirements out of the way so it doesn't cause a schedule conflict during junior or senior year while they're enrolled in the IB program. For more information, if you want more information now, you can get information on the CHS website under the academics tab. We'll give you additional IB information. If your student is a current athlete and they plan on participating or playing sports at the Division I or II level, it's important for them when they're meeting with their counselor to let their counselors know. There's not anything additional that they need to do at this time, but during their junior year, they will need to register with the NCAA Eligibility Center, which we will send a transcript at the end of their junior year and continue to monitor their progress in meeting the NCAA requirements. So it's important for them to again, notify their counselors or update their counselors if they have aspirations to play at the Division I or II level of the NCAA. We understand that, this is a difficult time for many students. Some students are having a lot of success with distance phase one learning. Some students are struggling. If that is the case, there are ways to remediate and to help out with bringing up those grades and getting students back on track. So if their student is anything less than a C, so if they're earning an F or a D in any A through G, which are the college requirements, or any grad requirements, we encourage them to remediate those grades during summer school. The registration forms are available. Everyone should have received an email and a phone call, and several text messages have come out from the high school as well with the registration information and the link to go on and sign up for summer school. We offer courses within English, math, science, as well as social science for remediation. And we also offer enrichment classes in chemistry and pre-calculus. So if you have a student who is strong in Integrate Math 3 and really doing well and they want to accelerate into math, there is the option for them to take a full year of pre-calculus over the summer to enroll in Calc AB their sophomore year. We also have Rising Sophomore State Chemistry, which enables them to take an AP level or higher level science course during their sophomore year as well. So those are the two courses that are open for enrichment. We do also offer an Art 110 and an Art 199 over the summer that gives students a full year of art credit. That is a Citrus dual enrollment course if they're looking for some courses to take over the summer at CHS. PE is another big one. Many students complete their PE requirement over the summer at Claremont High School. That is open for rising sophomore students. All right. If your student has fallen even further behind, so maybe 2 summer school courses is not working for them, or they just need a different setting or a different environment. 2,400 students at Claremont High School might be too large, might not be the small, intimate environment where they can get the support that they need or that they seek. Please speak to your student's counselor because we have alternative education options at San Antonio, the high school proficiency exam, as well as the GED through the adult school, but there are age requirements with those. But definitely if the traditional high school, Claremont High School, is not working out for your student and they found themselves in a hole that they really feel like they cannot get out and Claremont High School is not working for them, please talk to your student's counselor about additional options that might be available to help them succeed and eventually get some sort of diploma or equivalent. Smart options for summer. Again, we encourage students, if they have any D's or F's within those areas, grad requirements or A through G, to keep them back on the graduation track or the four-year college track, if that's what they seek out, to attend summer school to remediate those grades. There are the enrichment courses that I spoke about. We offer a full year of chemistry, up to 10 credits of PE. It's a great time over the summer if it is safe and you're comfortable with that to get out there and to volunteer. CEF offers the Tech Ed course over the summer as well. And as mentioned, we offer the Art 110 and the Art 199 as concurrent enrollment with the Citrus College. We do offer the regional occupational program. So these are career oriented courses where professionals from different careers teach courses at Claremont High School to help prepare students for, if they have any interest in that career choice. So we do offer a variety of courses at Claremont High School during our normal school day and period. 3D animation, stage tech, criminal justice, sports medicine, as well as a new and revamped business management course. A lot of these courses are not just one-year courses, so they have more advanced courses that are connected with them as well. Throughout the Baldy View region, students are able to take additional courses in cosmetology, dental assistant, nursing assistant, fire tech, and so forth. There's a lot to choose from that lead to certificates that they can go straight into the workforce right away with that. These courses are great to take while they're in high school because they're free to them without any charge. If a student was to enroll in any of these courses after they graduated, there would be a fee to that they would have to pay in earning that certificate for employment. So they're great to earn elective credits, great to earn job skills, as well as to earn certificates that can get students right to work and earning good wages. If you're interested, definitely talk to Suzanne Miller. She works in our career center, and she's great in advising students and works closely with us in the counseling office to make sure students have those opportunities through the ROP program. Now let's get to the scheduling and course contract, because I know that's what many of you, as well as your students, are logged in today. We did present to them during their WOOF-in period today. We also had office hours where we were able to answer questions for students. We will have a few more of those as well. But the first thing when you're filling out that form is we're going to ask students to decide on a requested start time. We have kind of a staggered start. We have what we call a first period, which most schools refer to as a zero period. So that's an earlier start. You would start a little bit earlier and get out a little bit earlier. So it'll be a 6:55 start, out at 1:55. Our traditional start, which is more than 80% of our students, is a second period start where they start school at 7:55. So just keep in mind, if your student is requesting to start early because they have work commitments or they're, commitments at home or sports, it is not guaranteed. We cannot accommodate every student with the first period start, but we try our best to accommodate those requests, but it varies from year to year what's offered and how many classes are happening during that first period. So just keep in mind that that's not guaranteed, but we do want students to select a start time. Mark all classes you wish to take on your course contract. All sophomore students will need to enroll in 6 courses during their sophomore year. You're going to input those courses electronically. It should not let you go on without filling in a course for each of those sections. If your student is an AVID, they are able to take 7 courses. If your student desires to take 7 courses and they're not an AVID student, please fill in the area. There's an additional comments, and have your student, when they meet with their counselor individually, talk about that 7th course. Again, we cannot always accommodate students with a 7-period day, but there are circumstances where students are taking special electives and other things. For example, if they're in band or some of our theater programs or some of those special electives, we try to accommodate students so they can stay connected and involved in those activities, as well as take all the courses that they would like to take. This year, your student will start taking their social science requirements. So all students will take a world history class. That's different from freshman year. We start our social science and history courses in 10th grade. So each student will either choose honors world history or college prep world history. There is a prereq attached to that. So students, if they're currently in freshman English, they need to have a B or better in the spring semester for honors world history. And if they're currently in honors freshman English, the prereq is having, if they're in freshman English, it's an A or better for the spring semester. If they're in honors freshman English, it's a B or better for the spring semester. So regardless of what they choose, we will verify and check that spring semester grade and make adjustments over the summer if needed. This is a big question. So I know we went over what we offer during summer school. It's not a lot that we offer for advancement. Most of our summer school is revolved around remediation. So we do get a lot of students who are looking outside of CUSD2 for summer school options. We as counselors cannot recommend or advise coursework outside of the district. If you are choosing or if you find something, it must be approved by your student's counselor before they take that course. We want to make sure that it's approved, that we can give them high school credit, as well as it's A through G approved, so that the colleges will, so that they can receive the credit for college. And thirdly, if there are aspiring NCAA athlete, that the NCAA will receive that course. So last thing that we want our students going out to take a course for, and it's not meeting the needs of what they want for that course. So it's important to make sure that your students are verifying that course and where they're taking that course, running that by their counselor for approval prior to doing that. And again, we cannot recommend anything outside Claremont High School. So, but we understand there's programs out there, and students are resourceful and will find opportunities that they can take. But those are the things that we have to just kind of disclose, and we want to make sure that they're getting the credit for where it needs to be at. So make sure that that is approved by your student's counselor. All right. All right, so the electronic course requests, they're due April 2nd. Again, it opened up today. We had a short video that is still on the website that you can watch. Your students can go back to watch. There's a lot of resources on the website. Make sure you're looking at those elective options, the prereq, course descriptions. They're due on April 2nd. If your course request is not submitted, courses will be selected for you. So we as counselors, we will go through and make sure your students are enrolled in the grad requirements. If possible, if they're on that track, we try to keep all students A through G compliant. So we try to keep all of our students on the A through G track, especially this early, so that they do have options once they reach that junior, or once they reach that senior year based on their post-secondary plan. So we will go through that, try to keep students on the A through G track, but make sure they're in their grad requirements, and hopefully choose an elective course that we think that they might be interested in. So it's important for them to go through and fill that out, because what I choose for them might not be what they really are interested in as elective options. We're going to review all of the course requests. So when you're filling this out, don't feel that you're going to make a mistake and you're not going to have an opportunity to meet with the counselor, or your student's not going to have the opportunity to meet with their counselor to kind of review that. We will review each course request with your student individually outside of synchronous instruction. So they're either going to be scheduled between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, or 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock with their PE class. So they'll come in with one big group, and then the counselors will be in breakout rooms, and we will meet with them individually. It's not a long meeting. It's usually about 5 to 7 minutes. So it's not a time for them to choose classes. That should already be done. It's a time for us to verify those course requests and answer any questions that they might have. We can make changes if we figure out there needs to be some changes to those requests they make at that time. I talked about that counselors are going to be available to answer questions during virtual office hours. So we had our first office hours today. We had about 10 students come in, and they were there for about 45 minutes answering questions, asking questions to the counselors, and we were able to answer those questions for them. So our next one is going to be March 30th, and we also will have one on March 31st at 1 o'clock. And the link to that office hours can be found on the website, on the Claremont High School website under that counseling tab as well. I think it's also on the course request form. I know the dates are, but I think the link might be there as well. But definitely you can go to the website and you can find the link for those office hours. All right, here is the schedule for those office hours visits. So it's based on PE class. So your student will just find their PE teacher in the period, and it will map out the date that they are going to come in to meet with us. Again, it's important that they come on their day. Most of us will have between 5 and 10 students. There might be days where your counselor might have 15 students. So we don't really have that flexibility for students to schedule other times with that. You can see here we are booked throughout Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. So we're booked every day from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, meeting with students individually. And this is just one class. We have actually been doing this for the past 4 or 5 weeks. and we will continue doing this throughout mid-April, even when we return back to school, meeting with students via Zoom with their classes for course registration. So it's important for them to know their date and come in with that date. Yes, we understand that there might be some conflicts with sports or other activities. If you can reach out to your counselor beforehand and let them know, that would be greatly appreciated. Just again, because there's some days where we might even ask students to come in earlier just because we have so many students to see within that hour. And we want to make sure we have at least 5 to 7 minutes to meet with those students to review and verify their course requests. And that's it for our presentation. I know we're going to stay on and answer any questions. I think some of the counselors have been answering questions in the chat, but we're going to open it up and answer any questions that you might have.
Right. So we have had several questions about fitness testing. The PE test in your freshman year. Mr. Anderson, do you want to answer that? Do you know about that?
Yeah, so the PE test has been on postponement for the last 2 years. So currently, right now, fitness test is not being held, and students are receiving their credit for their PE as if they have passed that test. So it's not required for current freshmen now. It's not something that's going to be thrown on them or something they're going to be expected to do. When that is revamped, or if it's re-implemented, that'll be something that is beyond the class of 2024. So it's not anything that the class of 2024 is going to be required to complete.
Excellent. Another really good question. When we volunteer, how do we verify we did the volunteer work? So great question here. Claremont High School does not require that you verify volunteer work. We do not have a volunteer requirement as a high school requirement. However, we do recommend you keep record of that. And now that could be a record you keep on a spreadsheet. You could also request from your supervisor a letter of recommendation detailing how much you volunteered. We do not require records of those. So that is up to the student on how they want to track that. We do highly recommend they do track that because you will be asked for that information, including date ranges that you volunteered when you apply to colleges. It's a great question. Next question, what is the difference between IB and AP? Mr. Anderson, you want to take that?
I would say that the biggest difference is going to be your student style of learning if you're looking for which one might be a better fit. They're both going to be extremely rigorous. They're college level coursework. The IB is going to be more writing focused, whether the AP is more your traditional studying and being tested on something. So the IB is going to have a larger writing focus. Not that you're not going to write in your AP courses, but just the learning style is going to be a little bit different within the IB classes or the AP classes. In terms of when you're thinking in terms of colleges, which is going to be preferred, the answer that you're going to get for college admissions reps is neither is going to be preferred over the other. They look at them both equally and both as rigorous college level coursework and courses there.
And when you get into your sophomore year, you will have opportunities to learn more about IB in particular through IB information nights. That'll happen next year as a sophomore. Next question, what is the difference between college prep and honors? So college prep and honors, both of those courses meet the UC Cal State entrance requirements. The difference between the two, the honors program is more rigorous, covers, generally speaking, a little more content, and works at a higher level. Our honors program is designed to help students prepare for the AP and IB programs. That is not to say, however, that if you just take college prep in your freshman and sophomore year, that you are not prepared for the IB or AP programs. So it does move you into more advanced programs, but it's not necessary in order to enroll in AP and IB in your junior and senior year. Next question. Can you clarify the A through G requirement for science? It says 2 years in 2 of 3 areas. Does that mean 4 years total, 2 years in 2 areas, or just 2 years total over high school? It does get complicated. It is confusing, and I get that. It is 2 years total. So your graduation requirement is 2 years, and that's a biological science and a physical science. That is the same for colleges. It is 2 years total. Next question. How many units of PE can someone earn this summer through CUSD? So the summer school PE offerings, there are 2 sessions of PE. Each session is 5 credits. So if a student takes both sessions of PE, first and second, they can earn a total of 10 credits this summer. Next question. I'll let you answer this one, Mr. Anderson. Does yearbook meet the art or CTE requirement? Did you catch that, Mr. Anderson?
My Wi-Fi was kind of cutting in and out.
Okay.
I apologize, so I might have missed that there.
So the question is, does yearbook meet the art or CTE requirement?
So yearbook does not meet the, it does not meet the art requirement as in for the A through G requirements. Yearbook does not, but it's a great activity because when you're considering colleges and universities, they want students who are involved and well-rounded, involved in leadership and at their school and on their campus. So although it does not meet the F requirement for A through G, it is a great activity that will enhance you as a student and how you're connected to school and activities that you're involved in at the school, but it does not meet the F requirement for A through G or the art requirement for high school graduation, but it does fulfill elective requirements that you will need. So it definitely is something that is encouraged for students if they have an interest and encouraged for students to continue with their involvement in yearbook and ASB and some of those other activities that might not meet course requirements, but again, are productive activities and keep students connected and involved in school.
Excellent. Next question we have is it possible to meet with my counselor? So all counselors are going to be available during office hours. And so there is a good chance if you need to ask a question, that's a great time to do that prior to completing your course contract. And again, we put up the schedule of when every student will meet with their counselor individually in April. So yes, you can meet with your counselor individually, and you can also ask questions through our office hours time period that is advertised on our website. Next question, what do we put on the course selection form if we want to take chemistry this summer and AP environmental science next year? So on the course selection form, we want you to put chemistry right now. We want you to put the course that you would take if you didn't take summer school. When you register for CHS chemistry, part of that process, when you're enrolled in the class and and you've completed the majority of the class, you will be asked what you want to take in your junior year through that class. And at that point, we will change the course contract. But for now, we want you to put chemistry on the electronic one that you're completing by next Friday. Next question. How do you make a one-on-one appointment with your counselor? I think I just answered that one. Okay. I answered that one too. Hold on, I gotta get rid of some of these. Give me 1 second, sorry. So I see in April, the one-on-one meeting schedule has a 1 hour time bank. Will this cause each student to have less than 5 minutes with their counselor? So you have to remember there are 6 counselors and students, typically around 36 kids in each one of those PE classes. So on average, that's about 7 to 10 minutes with each student at that time. And again, sometimes that may be less depending on how many I have in a class versus Mr. Anderson, for example. Okay. The email sent.
I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, if you feel if there's questions now, that's why we're having these office hour sessions. So hopefully students are attending the office hours, and by going to those office hours, we are answering multiple questions. All 7 of us counselors are there during those office hours and able to take questions and advise students prior to that one-on-one meeting. So they actually could have up to 4 times that they can meet and get questions answered from a counselor, 3 times during office hours, and then they're able to meet and verify those things individually with their counselors during that time. So there's no limit to how many office hours they can attend. We have a lot of students that come in just to hear what other students are asking, because that might help them in their planning in that process with that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next question. The email sent previously said that students can take classes at the Claremont colleges if options aren't available through CHS. Under what circumstances can these classes be taken, which classes, etc.? So I'm not sure what email was sent. I'm not privy to that email. I have not seen that email. But we do have students who take classes at the Claremont colleges. Generally speaking, students who take classes at the Claremont colleges have exhausted the courses available at CHS. For example, if I have a student who has taken 4 years of a world language, meaning they've gotten to the AP or IB level in their junior year, those students would be eligible to take a 5th year or an additional year at the Claremont colleges, because we don't offer that at CHS. And those are the circumstances, generally speaking, when students will be allowed to take classes through the Claremont colleges. Next question. Are there any classes to take in the 10th grade to prepare for AP or IB? Mr. Anderson, you want to answer that?
I would say if you are doing well in your current English course, if you're taking college prep freshman English and you have an A, it might be a good idea to try out either honors sophomore English or honors world history, just because of the workload is going to be a little bit more, and you're going to get an increased workload in AP and IB courses. So being able to learn how to balance that workload and figuring out, all of that information with the increased workload and study habits and time management would be helpful when going into that junior year, taking any IB, AP courses with that. So on that sense, that might be a good idea if you are doing well in your current English class, just to get some exposure to the increased workload and how to balance that.
Excellent, thank you. Next question, is summer school limited, or will most students who request it be guaranteed a spot? So the answer to that is summer school is limited, especially on our advancement courses. And so not every student would be guaranteed a spot. However, we do try our best to accommodate the students who do request summer school. We are limited by the number of teachers who are teaching in summer. So that is our primary limiting factor, is the teachers willing to teach during summer. Let's see here. For computer credit for the tech ed requirement, if my student took computer classes in a school that is not El Roble, can they still take the tech ed test? So the challenge exam is open to any student. Any student can take the challenge exam. They do not have to have taken the class at El Roble. And in fact, if your student took the class at El Roble and passed it with a C or better, that actually counts for the graduation requirement. Also in this question, can their former computer teacher write an approval note, etc.? There are a very limited number of schools that Claremont High School will accept a tech ed class from. That would be something I would encourage your student to talk directly with their counselor about. Okay, next question. Does it look better if you take honors classes and then AP or IB, or none? So college prep and then AP or IB. Mr. Anderson, you want to answer that one?
And again, it goes back to the whole fit and what fits you. So what might be right for one student is not right for the other. I always encourage students, you want to enjoy your high school experience. You also want to challenge yourself to the most rigor that you are comfortable with. If taking 2 honors courses and AP courses throughout junior and senior year, if that's something that you can handle, absolutely, that's something that's encouraged. If it's one AP course, then it's one AP course. We talked about there being over 2,500 colleges and universities out there, and only a few of them accept less than 50% of their applicants. So again, I always encourage students to challenge yourself to what you're capable and comfortable with, where you're going to have a healthy high school and enjoyable high school experience. So if you are a student who can balance that, and that's something that you are comfortable with, then absolutely the rigor, more rigor that you take is going to help prepare you prepare you for maybe some of those selective colleges and universities. But there is no one way fits all or one thing that you have to do with a lot of rigorous courses to have post-secondary options. So again, that's going to vary from student to student. Yeah, it is always a good idea that, to continue increasing that rigor and not decreasing it. But if you find yourself in a situation where this is a bit much, it's okay to take a step back and say, you know what, I understand this. And maybe 3 AP or our honors level courses is too much. 2 is better for me, or 1 is better for me.
Excellent. Mr. Anderson, we're running short on time, so I'm going to continue reading the questions, and I may answer some of them in chat if you don't mind answering them out loud.
Sure.
Sound good? Okay. So next question, does the student earn college credit for both AP and IB courses?
Yes, most of our AP and IB courses can earn college credit. Not all schools. So again, I don't want everyone to think that I take an IB course, I get college credit. Usually you take an IB or an AP course, it's connected to the IB or AP exams that students will take in May. And then that colleges will based on the course and the exam scores, they can grant credit for those AP or IB courses. So again, it's going to vary from school to school and what credit you will receive from that.
Thank you. Excellent. Next question, can you change from IB to AP or vice versa?
The IB program, it is a program. So it is a program that runs through junior year throughout senior year with specific requirements. So you're not able to go into the IB program in your senior year. You have to start your junior year with that. AP are just courses. So students can take an AP course junior year. They're year-long courses. So there's no program with requirements of how many courses in specific areas that you have to take for AP. It's kind of flexible with what you feel that you want to enroll in at the AP level. But IB is a program with specific requirements that you have to take. In short, you'll take 3 courses over a 2-year period, and then you'll have 3 SLs that you have to test in. But again, there'll be more information on that. There's also information on the website. But to answer that question, you cannot join the IB program during your senior year. It's something that you have to start your junior year and you will finish at the end of your senior year.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next question, can you repeat the summer enrichment options for sophomore year?
Off the top of my head, I know we offer PE for one if students want to complete their PE requirement. We offer chemistry for students who have successfully completed biology. We do offer 2 art courses that will give students a full year art credit. One is Art 110, which is a visual art, and another is Art 199, which is like a cinematography art film appreciation course. And then we offer pre-calculus for any student who is in integrated math 3.
Excellent, thank you. And then in what grade, what is the earliest time my student can take an AP or IB course?
Students can take an AP or an IB course starting sophomore year based on their current courses. So if they have completed chemistry, we do have some AP level science courses that they can take. If they have completed pre-calculus, we have AP math courses that they can take. So most sophomores, some sophomores are eligible to take AP courses within science or math, depending on their current level of coursework now.
Thank you.
As well as world language, I left that out. So we do have some students who are accelerated or native speakers within a language, so they're able to take AP level language courses as sophomores as well.
Thank you. Can we take 7 classes each semester?
That's going to depend. I can say yes, if you're in AVIT, you can take 7 courses. Junior and senior year, if you're part of the IB program, is usually required for students to take 7 courses to fit that in. Everything else is going to be on an individual basis as well as a space availability. With 2,400 students that we're working with, we have to guarantee that all students have an equal opportunity to take 6 courses of their choice prior to giving students the 7th course. So again, it's going to vary from student to student and based on the courses that they're looking to take as that 7th course as well.
Thank you. Let's see here. What if I already registered my student yesterday? So I've already selected the classes. What do you do?
Okay. I still encourage, if there's any questions, to attend those office hours session. And when your student meets with their counselor during their individual appointment time, if there's any changes that they wanted to make, the counselor and your student will be able to make the changes at that time.
Thank you. So I'm trying to answer these as I go too. Let's see here. I have a question here. Why don't honors classes provide weighted GPAs? So the weighting at Claremont High School is based upon the UC system of weighting. Every course that we offer, we submit to the UC system, and the determination of weighting is based upon their determination of weighting. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to do this. What does a P and an N in the course description mean? So the P means that it is UC Cal State approved, and the N means that it is NCAA approved. I know that's a little confusing there. Let's see here. Question here, do the students still have to wear their PE uniforms due to COVID?
That's a great question. I think prior to the restart and when we come back to school, there'll probably be information giving out from the PE department or students who are enrolled in PE. Unless there's additional information that you might know, Mr. Troche, but I don't think.
I do not believe a policy for next year has been established. For this year, I don't know the answer for that. So I don't know when students return whether they will be required to wear their PE uniforms. I think that's a good question to ask one of our PE teachers, but I have not heard anything regarding that. Next question, when do you hear if your student was accepted to a summer course or not? So typically speaking, as students start turning in their summer school forms, that'll happen between now and in May. We typically will not know who's made what summer school programs until late May. So I don't have a better answer for you than that, but that has been traditionally, it has been late May when we know who's enrolled in summer school. Trying to see if there's any questions that I missed. I think we got them all. If you have any other questions, type them in the chat. We've got a couple minutes left. There are 2 summer school programs. What is the difference? Yes, this is really confusing, and we don't blame you for being confused. There are 2 summer school programs, and the difference between the 2 of them is based on who is funding it. So we have 2 different funding sources. We have the funding source that is Citrus College, and Citrus College graciously pays our teachers to teach some summer school classes for us. And the other funding source is through Claremont Unified School District, specifically the Community Day School program. And both of those programs have completely different requirements, both in hours per day, but also in terms of the way you register. And so it is a little confusing. And I wish we could make it easier. We're hoping to make it as easy as possible this year. So when can you meet my child's counselor to plan classes? So counselors are meeting individually with students in April, and students are more than welcome to join us for the office hours. I apologize, just forgot the name of what we were doing. For the office hour sessions listed on the website. Any other questions? Do IB courses get an extra grade point for UC schools? Yes, IB courses are weighted, so they do earn additional GPA points. Is it reasonable to take both chemistry and PE in the summer? No, you will not be able to take both during the summer. Students for Claremont High School summer program can only take 2 courses. Now that is 2 semesters. In order to take chemistry over the summer, you're taking a full year, which is 2 semesters. That is all of your summer school spots. So you would not be able to do both. And I am getting mixed up here. Am I missing anything, Mr. Anderson?
Don't see, let's see, questions on my end.
I apologize. My questions seem to be getting mixed up into different orders. So
I think there's one. Is there a drop period for summer classes? Was that answered or not?
no, I have not answered that.
That is,
Go ahead.
if a student finds the summer class too challenging, can he drop and retake it in the regular school year? Did you want to answer a drop period for the summer course?
There is a drop period for the summer course. I don't remember what it is offhand. Do you remember, Mr. Anderson?
I do not, but I definitely would if your student signs up for the course and they enroll in the course and they're finding it difficult, I definitely would reach out to that teacher prior to making any drop to see what supports might be available for them during the summer course. And if they're feeling that is still just too much to manage, reaching out to that teacher to see if they're able to drop the course within that. But typically, most of our students are successful during the summer school time, and has not really been an issue. But definitely, if they sign up, I would encourage them, if they're struggling, to meet with that teacher and seeing how they can support them through that summer school course. But it's not intended to penalize students. It's intended to support students and help remediate from that. So it'll definitely be a supportive environment for students within summer school.
Okay. Another question here about weighting between AP and IB courses. IB and AP courses are both weighted the same. They are both weighted courses, meaning that they get that GPA boost. Okay. Can my son register for integrated math 3 this summer and then pre-calculus next year? Claremont High School does not offer integrated math 3 full year over the summer. So we do not offer that. The Zoom link for our, the Zoom link for our office hours is located on the CHS website. If you take a look under the counseling resources or counselor course selection, for 2021-2022 website, you'll see it there. If we have questions about IB now, looking forward to junior and senior year, who may we ask? For IB questions, you can absolutely talk to Mrs. Sieg. Now is a really busy time for her because she is currently registering all of our sophomores. But I would say after spring break is a good time to reach out and just let her know you're interested in IB. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to go through, catch some of the big ones here. My daughter is integrated math 1-2 combo, and I put her in summer through integrated. You know what? That's a very specific question. I'm going to have you wait and hold on to ask your counselor regarding the integrated math 1-2 combo. Okay. Is summer school this summer in person or on Zoom? There are both online classes and in-person classes. They are delineated on the summer school course request form. So if you take a look at that form, you will see which classes are in person, what we're calling hybrid model, and which classes are fully online. And then I'm going to answer one last question here. Does PE require both summer sessions? So every session you take during the summer is 5 credits. So if you are trying to complete 10 credits of PE, you must take both sessions to do that. Okay. Any other questions on here that you see, Mr. Anderson?
There's not anything that I don't think that we've already addressed. Yeah, I think we've covered them all that I see.
Okay. Okay. I do see this one question about integrated math 1-2 combo. I would encourage you on that one, because it's so specific, to reach out to your student's counselor. I think that's the best approach to that, by email, or have your daughter join us for one of our, I cannot losing it tonight, Mr. Anderson. One of our office hour sessions. Man, that's been a long day. I think that's probably the best thing to do, is actually have them join the office hour session. And that'll give us a chance to touch base with them and answer that question directly. And the reason I'm saying that is without looking at the specifics with your particular student, I can't answer that effectively.
A good resource as well. They might not direct your students in which course to take, but speaking to your student's math teacher is a great place to start. With any math questions, with what might be the most appropriate placement, because again, that has it's specific to the students, how they're performing in that integrated math 1-2 course based on what you're asking there. So again, I'm double checking with the math teacher and following up with your student following up with their counselor as well.
Excellent. Well, we want to again thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate you guys being here. And of course, we encourage your students to come join us for office hours. I believe the dates and the links are listed on the CHS website. We look forward to seeing them then. And of course, when we get to see them individually. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.